everyone. Come on in because I'm here reviewing Love is Blind season 5 episode 2. And yes, I'm continuing with the audio only, no video, because it's easier for me to get these audio videos out sooner than taping, because when I got to tape, I got to comb my hair. I got to comb my hair and get dressed. And here I can sit here and be in my pajamas and my hair bonnet if I got one on, and do whatever I need to do to tape this. So I appreciate y'all walking through this with me, because I know y'all ahead of me. I know you way down the street, and I'm still not down the street yet. I'm barely catching up, saying, wait up, wait up, wait up. So I'm not gonna make these audios like a recap, because you already have seen it. So you don't need no recap. What these tapes are gonna be more about is just what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking. And if I just tell you what I'm thinking, then it doesn't matter if I'm behind you. Eventually I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna try to do one a day. So by Friday, I'm caught up with everybody. I might have to do 2 a day, right? Because I got 7 to do. I did 1. This is my second. So I might have to double up a couple of days. But y'all know I got a 9 to 5. So sometimes, depending on if I'm tired from work, I may not have time. I do them in the morning. I don't know. But we're going to get on through this. We're going to get to episode 2, because it's getting juicy. Is it just me, or is Love is Blind bringing the drama really early in the season? Is this show changing, y'all? This was one of my favorite dating shows, because I felt like it was kind of pure. You know what I mean? It was really pure. It was really about finding love. But I'm thinking that this season there might be some planted drama. I feel like they're trying to venture a little bit more over into reality TV. So they're kind of I don't know, they're manufacturing some drama or something, because I just feel like there's a lot of drama being presented so early in the season, when in past seasons, although drama showed up, it kind of showed up a little bit later. But you know who I want to start to talk with right away is I'm going to talk about Johnnie, because let me tell you right now, Johnnie is the most interesting to me. You know why? Johnnie's a gaslighter, y'all. My last video, I told you that Johnnie was a masker. I told you that I didn't think Johnnie was who she said she was, and that she had a lot of red flags, but she presents as one person, but behind the scenes, she's another person. And let me tell you, I'm sold on it. I'm sold on my original viewpoint of Johnnie, because when Johnnie was sitting there with Chris and she was breaking up with Chris, that girl was putting on her shoes, packing up her shit before Chris even stopped crying or stopped talking. By the time Chris says, you don't have to stay here no more, Johnnie was already out the door. Johnnie is cold. Johnnie is cold. She's cold. And after how I saw she interacted with Izzy, she's a gaslighter. But I think she's going to have her hands full with Izzy. I think she's reading Izzy wrong. Now, one thing I did get wrong on my first episode 1, I thought Johnnie was going to choose Chris. And let me tell you why I thought that, because I already know that Johnnie likes to be in control. And what I thought Johnnie would do is I thought she would choose Chris, because he was like the lamb on the side of the road, the wounded lamb on the side of the road. And I thought Johnnie would look at Chris and say, you know what, he's easy prey. Let me go on over here and devour him. Because right now I kind of look at Johnnie as like a black widow. I do. But what Johnnie did was Johnnie said, no, Chris is too easy a prey for me. He's like the wounded on the side of the road. Johnnie likes a challenge. Because I told you Johnnie likes to be in control. She likes to take, I'm telling you, I'm still thinking this about Johnnie. Now, I think at first she would have chosen Chris. But in this last episode, let me tell you why I think Johnnie switched to Izzy. First of all, I think Johnnie is like these owls in my backyard. I got these owls. I'm in California, but right now I'm living out in the area about an hour and a half outside of LA. It's got some wilderness, some wild too. And I got these owls that come and nest in my yard every year. And, I love them. They have their babies here. It's so sweet. And I didn't know much about owls because I'm a city girl. I come from the city, so I never really used to see, you hear owls, but I never used to see them. But when I got out here, these owls hunt in the yard. They hunt the rabbits. They hunt any type of other rodent, anything, squirrels, everything they hunt. And then one time, the owls had some babies, and I thought I was going to give the owl some food. The owl has some babies. The babies need food. Here I am thinking, you know what? I I found a dead, well, I think it was like a dead squirrel or something. I said, oh, you know what? Hey, or no, it was a rabbit actually. I said, instead of putting it in the trash, I'm going to just put it over here by the owls, below the tree of the owl's nest, and maybe the owl will want it. What I learned was owls don't like no dead food. Owls don't like dead food. They like to hunt. And that's what Johnnie reminds me of. Johnnie likes to hunt. Johnnie likes to hunt. She likes a challenge. But she's a masker and she's a black widow. I'm telling you, and she's a manipulator. When I tell you, when I saw the way she packed up her stuff, when Chris was sitting there crying, I was like, wow, that woman is cold. But let me tell you why she thought Izzy is now prey. Because Izzy opened up to her. Izzy started telling her the story of how he was a Jehovah's Witness, how he grew up strict, how he didn't get to do anything. He started revealing all of his vulnerabilities to Lydia. Izzy did. And you know what? That made Lydia start being even more attracted to him. That's what turned her on. Because now she looked at him as, wow, he is vulnerable enough for me to overtake him, but he's got a little bit of spark in him. I think she's going to go up against the wrong person because Izzy is not going to want to be controlled because he spent his whole life being controlled. If you listen to Izzy's story, what he's telling you is, my whole life as a child, I was lied to who my father was. I was lied to about religion. I was raised in a strict household. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. And now that Izzy is grown and in charge, Izzy probably want to do what the hell he wants to do. I told you Izzy part was bullshit. I don't really have it nailed down, but Johnnie is thinking she gonna come in here and prey on Izzy, and she gonna try to control Izzy. She gonna be in for a world of hurt. Because Johnnie, he may have had a past of brokenness, but where he's channeled that brokenness isn't to fall under the spell or control over Johnnie. What he's actually going to do is he's going to fight back against the Johnnie. And let me tell you, when he started hearing Johnny's story, he was all the way turned off. He was all the way turned off from her because now she's actually revealing some of her real truth. And then what I didn't like about what Johnnie did, which further tells me who she is, how I say she's a gaslighter, is because she didn't look at him because she can't see him, but she basically explained a scenario where she was married to a man, but in love with another man. She was married to one man and in love with another man. So when that other man, the drug addict, died from the overdose, her husband was probably upset that here she is crying over another man and you married to me. Because that's what she said. She said when her friend died of a drug overdose, that's when our marriage got rocky. Johnnie was probably using that married man, that man she was married to. She was never really want to be with him. That's what I said. Johnnie has a lot of problems. But then what she said is once she started telling her whole story and Izzy started backing up, did you see how she started getting mad at Izzy? Did you see how the bossiness, did you see how the control part of Johnnie started coming up? She started talking about it shouldn't be no surprise because we're just learning each other. Girl, it is a surprise because you didn't mention it before. You didn't mention it before. So it is a surprise. We've been talking all this time and you haven't mentioned it. And if you notice, Johnnie never told Chris, from what we know, that she had been married before. The only person she told that secret to was Izzy. That's the only person. She actually has never revealed any part of her too much to Chris or Izzy. That's why I said she's a masker. She's a masker. She tries to choose when to release information about herself. But what she likes to do is listen to you so you can reveal all your insecurities. She's a prime example of when you ever meet a person and they're real guarded and they say, I said, well, how did you get so guarded? And they said, well, you know what? I used to be a more vulnerable person, but, I would open up to people and then those people would hurt me. Let me tell you who they were opening up to. They were opening up to people like Johnnie. Johnnie is the type of person where they get you to open up to them. And then what they do is they use it to take advantage of you. That's who Johnnie is. Johnnie presents initially as a listener, a caretaker, a person who's going to be nice and kind. You open up to them, you reveal things about yourself, you make yourself vulnerable. And then what she does is she comes in, uses it against you to control you and to do what she wants to do. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, because Izzy is taking a step back after he's learning who Johnnie really is, she tells him, well, what do you want from me? Girl, what are you talking about? Why are you getting an attitude? You're the one that just spilled all this heavy information. She told this man, you're not giving me anything and I'm giving you everything. Erk. Because you just now telling who you really are, you expect me just to swallow this and move on as if nothing ever happened. All of a sudden now, Johnnie, you mad? You the victim? You just spilled all this heavy information on me. But now all of a sudden you're the victim. That's what I said before. Johnnie tries to present like she's the victim. She's the wounded, that she needs to be rescued. When in fact, Johnnie's the perpetrator. She even told this man, Izzy, stop being scared. She told him, you need to stop being scared. She basically walked out that room mad, talking about you need to take the night and think on it. Girl, sit down. Go sit down. Johnnie, everybody out there, be aware of the Johnnies of the world. When you see them, you need to walk away. And what did she do? As soon as she left that room, she said, oh my goodness, Chris cares more about me than Izzy does. Because what she saw was Izzy is no pushover. She was thinking Izzy was going to be a pushover and that she could run over him because he started telling her that victim story. That's what she thought. But now what she's realizing is, oh, snap. Izzy's not going to be no pushover. Like I said, I sure hope they don't choose each other because I think Johnnie is going to be in a big surprise because Izzy is not a pushover. Izzy is a person to me that grew up very sheltered, controlled, didn't get to make decisions for himself. And now in his adult life, he ain't going to listen to nobody. He going to do the hell what he wants to do. He's going to have some fun. And I think that's why he's a little bit scared of Stacy because I think he and Stacy's might be mirrors of each other. They might be mirrors. He even said he was a little bit afraid of because Stacy didn't open up and become vulnerable. Because I think what he sensed from Stacy is she might be a little bit too much like me. She might be a little bit, and Stacy said, I don't want to worry about nothing serious. I just want to have a good time. I just want to have a good time out here in these streets. I don't want to talk about nothing serious. We still don't know much about Stacy, but Stacy is a matter of fact, no nonsense. And I don't know if she's really emotionally invulnerable. And I think on the inside, there is an unhealed person in Izzy. There is that unhealed person. And the way he's dealing with it on the outside is to do whatever the hell he wants to do. So he could run over some people too. And it comes from a different place. But I tell you, Johnnie sat there and said, if he chooses Stacy, he's going to make a big mistake and he's going to regret it. Johnnie, I don't want to call her evil, but I'm definitely going to call her a black widow. She is a black widow. She actually is a good case study for anybody out here who finds themselves opening up to people and then that person eventually comes around, takes advantage of you, exploits your weaknesses. That's Johnnie. She's actually kind of calculating. And when Izzy did all that opening up to her, spilling his guts, spilling his inner inside, that's when she made the decision. You know what? I thought I couldn't maybe exploit Izzy, but now that he's showing this vulnerability, now I know how I might be able to do it. She went over there and cut Chris off real quick, real dirty. Like I said, she was putting on her shoes, packing up her stuff, moved out that pod before Chris could even finish talking. It was cold, cold, cold. And she said she thinks that if Izzy chooses Stacy, he's going to be coming up saying he effed up. Girl, he didn't F up. If he does not choose Johnnie, he dodged a bullet. He actually dodged a bullet. And let me tell you, Chris, I'm sure Chris is going to see this after this stuff stops filming, and he dodged a bullet. He dodged a bullet with Johnnie. Anybody who misses out on Johnnie, they all dodged a bullet. That mama was right. When Johnnie started talking about what her mama said to her, that mama was probably right. Because in marriage, you got to care more about yourself. You just can't care about yourself in a marriage. You got to care about others. And Johnnie doesn't give a damn about nobody. I'm telling you that right now. She don't give a damn. Before we go on to Lydia, Miss Lydia, because I got a lot to say about her, I'm going to dip in real quick and I'm going to talk about JP and Taylor. Because my last video, I thought they made a good couple. I thought that, wow, they seemed to fit really well. I thought that they were really cute together when he proposed and she said yes. I was really happy for them. Just listening to them talk to each other, they seem to have a lot of things in common. But let me tell you, I got a little afraid at the end. And at the end, I haven't seen episode 3, so they haven't revealed themselves to each other. Episode 2 ends with just them about to reveal themselves. And it ended where all of a sudden Taylor starts saying she had a dream last night that the man on the other side, JP, was going to be blonde hair with white teeth. And she said that in the past, she's been called really picky. And I got a little bit tense, a little bit scared. Is she going to like him physically? Because one is he's got red hair. And I'm wondering if he's going to be good enough for her the way he looks physically. I got a little scared. Let me tell you what my little senses went up with Taylor. She's the one I'm most concerned with. First of all, let me tell you what JP. JP is trying to signal in all of his pods. I don't know if he's trying to make political statements or if he's trying to say how he leans politically or his views in life. But the first episode, he was talking about, guess what color I have on? And I think Taylor had said, oh, you have on red. He said, what other colors? And he said, a red, white, and blue. And Taylor said, oh, are you going to always wear red, white, and blue? You know, he had on this sort of American flag tennis shoes. Then in this episode, he has this American flag sitting on the couch. And I'm thinking, who brings an American flag into the pod with them? Who wears red, white, and blue tennis shoes? What is that all about? Is this July 4th? What's going on? And I started to think, oh, they are in Houston. This is Texas. And I'm starting to believe that JP is making signals on where he stands politically. Because let me tell you, political affiliation or where you stand, your viewpoints, can be a point of contention on whether or not you're together. I wonder if he's had the conversation with Taylor to make sure that their views politically line up. But I believe JP is signaling something politically when he wears those red and white and blue tennis shoes, when he wears that flag sitting on the couch. I think he's signaling politically. She can't see the pod, so I don't know why he's bringing it in there. He is a firefighter. So what I'm getting from him is that he's a Republican and nothing is wrong with that. And I think he wants to make sure that she is too. I don't know what she is. I haven't heard what she is. I don't know. It's Texas. Texas is a Republican state, sometimes leaning purple. I don't know what's going on. A lot of stuff is going on in Texas. But when she also mentioned that she was a picky person before she saw him, I started to get this idea about Taylor is, I hope Taylor doesn't think that she's a hotter catch than she is. I'm not saying she's not a good looking lady, but she's not a 10. And I hope she hasn't been a person out here walking around in the world and she deserves some hot guy. Because I think that might keep her single. And first of all, when she was talking about she wanted a blonde hair with white teeth, I'm like, girl, your hair ain't even blonde because I can see your brown roots through that blonde hair dye. I was like, you know what? I don't really like to talk about nobody until they start talking about other people. So I sure hope that when she sees JP, she doesn't start talking about his looks. I really don't. I hope she doesn't think that she is so much better good looking than JP is. And now she feels like she's not attracted to him. That's what I hope. I really hope. And I really hope that their political affiliations and viewpoints line up. I do, because I think JP is signaling that. So I hope that whatever Taylor thinks, how she thinks, she is an elementary school teacher, I hope it lines up with him, because I really do believe he's making a political statement. So far, I love their love story. I love their connection. And I'm telling you, it wasn't until the very end that I got a little bit afraid. So I'll have to see on episode 3, when they see each other, what her first reaction is and what his first reaction is, to see if this is going to be something long standing. And then I'm going to move on to freaking Milton and Lydia. And Lydia is no friend to Aaliyah. Let me tell you something. If you got a friend like Lydia, a single woman, you need to get rid of her. Lydia is the type of woman that keeps single women single. She really is. She's the type of person where if you're having a fight with your boyfriend or your husband and you go talk to her, she just basically starts bashing your husband or your boyfriend. She just starts bashing them. She just starts, talking about them all bad and this and that, and telling me you ought to leave him. You ought to leave him. He ain't good for you, whatever. She puts gasoline on fire. She's not really a friend to Aaliyah. I don't know what's going on with Lydia. I don't know. Did they not show us a fight between Lydia and Uche? Because she seems to have a personal vendetta against Uche. And it almost seems like she's using Aaliyah to get back at Uche. Like, did they have a fight in the pods? Why wouldn't Netflix show us that? Because it's almost like she got wronged by Uche, and now she's befriending Aaliyah and using Aaliyah to get back at Uche, because she's crafting this whole plan to get back at Uche using Aaliyah. It's quite odd, but let me tell you, Lydia is the type of person where she doesn't need to be your friend. I wouldn't be friends with Lydia. Lydia would destroy your relationships. She would pour gasoline on fires you had with a boyfriend or a husband. She's a horrible friend. She know what she does. She internalizes everything with her from her viewpoint. I told you Lydia is selfish. She's self-centered. So she looks at everything from the viewpoint of her. Even when she sat there with Milton, okay, and all of a sudden now that she got dumped, she over here rubbing up on Milton. Ugh. I sure hope Milton don't get run over by Lydia rather. I hope Milton does not get run over by Lydia, because Milton, he's not afraid of her being older, because Milton tells us a story of how, he, was born in Hawaii, lived in Japan. He had his associate's degree in high school. So I think he's already been used to being around older people in social circles, because he's probably was a young person in, the youngest person in those schools, social circles. So he's used to being around older people. So I don't think that bothers him. But you notice how Milton refers to girls. He says, oh yeah, I'm not used to talking to other girls. I'm like, these people are not girls, Milton. These are women. You call them ladies. That bothered me about Milton, that although he may have traveled in social circles with older people, he still kind of has his speech like he's referring to Lydia as a girl. I was like, so I hope Lydia doesn't run up, because right now Lydia is just using Milton as a backup plan. She got dumped, and now she's over here using Milton. And that little crying speech Lydia gave, talking about I crave to be loved and valued who I am. That's the problem. I told y'all my last video, that's my biggest pet peeve of people out here who have problems, who've shown to have problems in relationships, but they're still going around talking about they're crave to be loved, they crave to be accepted, as opposed to realizing, listen, when you are a person who's disruptive, okay, which I know Lydia's disruptive, and now you're running around talking about you crave to be accepted for who you are. What you're failed to think about is, in order for you to be accepted for you who you are, guess what everybody else in the room has to do to themselves? They can't be who they are. Right? Because you're so big, you take up so much room in the world. Your emotions are so big, your feelings are bigger than anyone else's. You're so self-centered that in order for you just to be able to do what you want to do, say what you want to say, everybody else has to contain themselves and keep their mouth shut so you can be who you are. It's a selfish position to walk around talking about you just want to be yourself. Great. So you get to go around and be yourself, and we all got to hold our tongue and just deal with you. That's selfish. That's why I know anytime someone says, I want to be accepted for who I am, if you hear that out in the world, or run from that person, because what they're saying is their needs are greater than yours. That's what they're saying. They don't want to change. They want you to change and accept them, and their needs are greater than yours. It sounds good on the surface, but everybody needs to go a little bit deeper when they hear people say that. That's not a person who wants to get along with others. That's a person who's saying, I want to do what the hell I want to do, and I want everybody to accept me. That's not good in a relationship. That's not good at all. And that's what Lydia screams. That's what Lydia screams. That's why I say she ain't no good friend, because all she does when you come to her, like Aaliyah's coming to her now, is all she does is tell you, girl, take care of yourself, be true to yourself. She doesn't encourage her to learn how to get along in a union. She's encouraging Aaliyah to be selfish just like she is. It's horrible. Lydia's a horrible friend. She make a horrible mate. Horrible. And for the last part, for this Uche and this Aaliyah situation, I can't believe that they are actually going to continue with this. This is horrible. This is when you're supposed to pay attention to your discernment and you're supposed to cut strings. This is when they shouldn't have continued with this relationship. They were presented with the red flags. Both Uche and Aaliyah both were presented with red flags of each other. Uche has red flags, and so does Aaliyah. And they both should have said goodbye. But I don't know if they're here just to have more time on the camera, if they're desperate for love or what. But they never should have continued with this relationship. This is going to be a disaster. I could already tell this is a disaster in the making. I don't know if he's going to get to the point where he's going to propose to her, but it sounds like they are that he is going to eventually propose to her, and it's going to be horrible. It's going to be absolutely horrible. I know he came back with his whole apology, which is fine. He should have apologized because he was really harsh. He was really judgmental. But like I said before, he was telling the truth about her, honestly, but he didn't have to deliver it in the way that he delivered it. That's what was so harsh. And now, even though he's coming back and he's apologizing, what he showed you was he showed you how he would handle a situation like that. And words matter, right? It just doesn't matter that you come back and you apologize, because words are very damaging. And Uche's words were damaging. Like, I couldn't be with a guy who handles situations like that, because even though he comes back and he apologizes, it doesn't matter. It can't take away the way he made you feel in the initial conversation. He just pummeled that girl. He just really beat her down to the ground, to the pulp. And then he comes back and he says, I'm sorry. And then he says, you don't think this is going to be the first time we have a disagreement? Damn. So you trying to tell me this is how it's going to go all the time? Anytime we have a disagreement, you going to beat me down like this? And then, yeah, even if later on you come back and apologize, I got to lick my wounds like this and patch all my wounds up. Aaliyah should have run from this. Aaliyah should have run. And Uche, I think he's going to be in for it with Aaliyah too, because there's a part of Aaliyah that I don't think she gives a damn too much about other people either, be honest with you. They're gonna end up hurting each other. These two are going to end up hurting each other, because they both got these parts of them that are, Uche's harsh, he's critical. And Aaliyah, there's a part of me that believes she is selfish. She is selfish. And I think they're just going to be going at it. He's going to be lecturing her. He's going to be talking down to her. I can just see it already. He's going to be criticizing her and talking down to her, because she does have some parts of her that probably is going to be foul. And he's going to be talking about all her foul spots all the time. All the time. I can just see it. He's going to be like the lawyer with the witness on the stand. Every time she does something wrong, he's going to be on her neck. He's going to have his whole foot on her neck the entire time. The entire time. And I think she's going to have a lot to be called out for. Woo! Anyway, like I said, a lot of drama. But that's all I got to say for this episode. I'm going to move on to episode 3. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.